What's going on, everyone? Welcome on in to the Cleveland Browns Report. Coming up on today's show, I want to recap everything that came out of day one of the Browns rookie minicamp, some of the highlights, and just guys to watch for over the weekend. But let's just start by setting down a little bit of a primer here. The Browns 2024 draft class. I'm sure at this point we probably memorized everyone's name and everything, but just one last time for the people in the back. Michael Hall, Zak Zinter, the first two picks by the Browns, both in the trenches. Then they go Jamari Thrash, wide receiver from Louisville in round 5. And they rounded out in day 3 with Nathaniel Watson, linebacker from Mississippi State, South Dakota State, cornerback Myles Harden, and then defensive tackle from Cincinnati, Jowon Briggs. In addition to the 6 draft picks, they also had 9 UDFA signings. Running back Aiden Robbins from BYU. He's a sneaky guy to watch for. I think he may have a decent shot at this roster. Amari and Brown from South Carolina, Trenton Welch, Lorenzo Thompson, Javon Cohen, I think is one of the best UDFA signings, period. And then how about an offensive tackle, Jalen Sundell? Maybe he pushes for a spot on the roster by replacing like James Hudson as the swing tackle, for example. Winston Reed, a linebacker, Deshaun Gales, and then Chris Edmonds were the other UDFAs as well. In addition to those guys, the Browns also invited a handful of players to try out for the team. It just kind of helps them, grow their game a little bit and get some tape on them. Maybe another team takes a look at them. Plus, the Browns needed a quarterback just to throw the football around this weekend. So they got Northern Colorado's Jacob Simon. How about like Northern Colorado? That's the Montana State Bobcats with Clevin Thomas, Jordan Townsend. What school is that? Landon Honeycutt. What is it? Delaware. Oh, I knew that one. And then Landon Honeycutt. What is that school? Yeah, I'll just bring on producer Colin Brown here.
So we've got Jacob Simon, Northern Colorado.
Yep.
Tyrese Chambers, Maryland. Cleveland Thomas, Montana State. Jordan Townsend, Delaware. Landon Honeycutt, Mars Hill.
Oh, I was not going to get that one. Yeah,
Mars
hand up. Did not remember their season a year ago. And then we have San Jose State and Oregon. I do know those two. So in addition to all those players, there's also a couple of veterans that get invited to rookie minicamp. Jarvis Landry, for what it's worth, is at Jags rookie minicamp right now. Don't ask me how or why. But Zaire Mitchell-Payton, he's back for another rookie minicamp. Jaden Peavy, Lonnie Phelps, who's a UDFA last year out of Kansas, if I remember correctly. Roy Mbedeke, and then Vincent Gray. So I also want to share with you guys the rookie jersey numbers in case you're wondering. Mike Hall, he stays at number 51. Nathaniel Watson's number 40. Zak Zinter, that's a good offensive lineman, number 70. Jamari Thrash at 80. I feel like if you're a wide receiver in the 80s, you got to be a contested catch guy, right? A big target to throw to. That's not really Jamari Thrash at all. So maybe he moves to the teens once all of training camp is over with. We saw like Cedric Tillman do that last year. But if you are looking for more rookie minicamp updates before we get to the highlights out of day 1, make sure to subscribe to the channel because on Monday, we'll do a full winners and losers breakdown video from rookie minicamp. So if you want to sound smart in front of your friends about what happened at Browns rookie minicamp, hit the sub button down below. Now, 3 players to watch for this weekend. How about the first pick the Browns had in the draft? Defensive tackle Michael Hall from Ohio State. 6'2", 299 pounds. And despite being one of the larger dudes in the world, he ran a 4.75 40-yard dash. Like, that alone is probably where the buck ended for the Browns when it came to their evaluation of Michael Hall. He's 300 pounds, and he ran a 4.75. Like, we're not going to ask our defensive tackles to run 40-yard sprints, but it does give you a decent idea as to the type of speed he's working with. So, from a physical trait standpoint, there's no doubt he is one of the best just all-around athletes for this draft class, like pound for pound. But there was some issues with consistency, and maybe people outside of the Cleveland Browns organization wonder, is Mike Hall suited to be a routine NFL guy? And there were questions about Jowon Jones last year. Like, can he be someone that keeps his weight under control? And the Browns, they were able to make Jowon Jones into a pretty good rookie. So I think there's a lot of belief in Cleveland that, yeah, maybe other teams don't view him as a legit starting NFL defensive tackle because of things not necessarily related to his physical makeup. But here in Cleveland, we believe we can form him into an NFL starting player like we did with a teammate of his, DeJuan Jones, last year. So Mike Hall, in my eyes, he joins a very crowded defensive line where he's not going to be asked to do a whole lot his rookie year. Like Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, Quentin Jefferson, and I think Maurice Hurst. Like those four players right there are your rotational defensive tackles. And you'll have Siaka Ika and Mike Hall kind of redshirting this season. Now, the unfortunate thing is Siaka Ika redshirted last year, so that kind of puts a little bit more pressure on him to come into training camp this year with more to show for than a rookie who kind of gets the benefit of the doubt and gets some extra slack. But unless injuries pop up, I just don't think Mike Hall is going to have that big of a role on this defensive line just because of how much depth is already above him with a lot of veteran experience, where Hall last year at Ohio State, like, the production was up and down, right? Physically, he has a lot of the great tools and traits you seek for in a defensive tackle, but why didn't it come together every single Saturday for 4 quarters a day? Why did it come and go in waves? That's on the Browns coaching staff to try and nail down to make a little bit more of a consistent football player out of Hall. But during rookie minicamp, there's no pads, there's no tackling, so you're not going to see any fun highlights of Michael Hall sacking a quarterback, but I'm still going to keep an eye out for him. But let's welcome him back to the Cleveland area because he is from Northeast Ohio. So type his jersey number 51 down below. It's got to be a dream come true to get drafted by your hometown team. So to stay in Ohio for high school, college, and the NFL right now, it's a blessing for him. Second guy up, I beg your pardon, is wide receiver Jamari Thrash. I'm going to skip over Zak Zinter. I just feel like offensive linemen, unless you're a first-round pick, usually don't generate a ton of buzz, let's be honest, in the months of May and June. But Jamari Thrash, I think, will be a fun guy to keep an eye on because he's a wide receiver. And when it comes to rookie mini camps, there's no contact, there's no tackling going on, but there's footballs being thrown, and that provides an opportunity for a wide receiver to make a little bit of a name for himself. 5'11", a $188, ran a pretty solid 4.46 40-yard dash. Now, he doesn't have the greatest frame, but he's a solid route runner. He was a second-team All-ACC player last year at Louisville, started his career off at Georgia State. Then he transfers to 1 year to play under Jeff Brom at Louisville, and up until an injury cut his season short at the very end of the year, he put together some really good stuff. He was their number one go-to guy. I think the numbers reflect that. 62 grabs, 848 yards, 6 touchdowns. Definitely some concentration issues, 8 drops. So that's going to be something wide receiver coach Chad O'Shea works on throughout the next couple of weeks. But listen, you've got a rookie wide receiver. Yeah, they're just going to be a little bit more, attractive for a fan to check out when it comes to surface level interest than a rookie offensive guard. Let's just call it what it is. So that's definitely one guy I'm keeping an eye on for here. All right, let's go to our third player to keep an eye on for the Browns. And we'll go to the linebacker room here. It is Nathaniel Watson out of Mississippi State. So I fast forward towards the later stages of the draft because the Browns linebacker room, it's definitely up for grabs in some areas. Like JOK and Jordan Hicks, they've got their spots and their snaps locked in because of their play and their contract. Devin Bush is much more open for business. And that's where I think a guy like Nathaniel Watson, if he puts together a really solid month of May and June throughout minicamp OTAs, he could really contend for a starting role on this defense. Now, before I give you more insight on Nathaniel Watson, if you want to get yourself a brand new Browns jersey, you want to get yourself a Jerry Jeudy jersey, he's wearing number 3 this year, go to chatsports.com/Jeudy jersey. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video, but I'm a big jersey guy myself. I've got a Nick Chubb jersey behind that wall, an Amari Cooper jersey behind that wall, a Jim Brown jersey behind that wall, and now I think the fourth one might be a Jerry Jeudy jersey. So go to chatsports.com/Jeudy jersey. Some more background on Nathaniel Watson. 6'2", 233, so maybe not the biggest guy in the room when it comes to linebackers, but loads of experience. In fact, a lot of experience to the point where it's a little surprising Barry picked him just because of, we know Andrew Barry can be a bit of a Leonardo DiCaprio when it comes to liking his draftees on the younger side, but the production is, without a question, terrific. Back-to-back 100-plus tackle seasons, 10 tackle for loss seasons, and 6+ sack seasons. So why did Nathaniel Watson go so late in the draft? Well, one, he played 6 years of college football. So when you, in your final 2 years of a 6-year career, put together awesome years, people are going to start questioning, was that because you were a men playing with boys? Like, was that just a result of you having 4 to 5 years on some rookie offensive linemen and running backs, and that's what led to all the production? Or is this going to be a reason why we look back at, oh my gosh, why did Nathaniel Watson fall? He was so good at Mississippi State. What a terrific snag by the Browns in late day 3 of the draft. I think Nathaniel Watson could be the first rookie to start just because the Browns rookie class at every single spot where they were drafted, it's got a pretty hard cap ceiling above them. Like Mike Hall, we went over earlier. Zak Zinter is not replacing Joel Petonio or Wyatt Teller. Jamari Thrash has Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman above him, David Bell. Like, he's not going to be able to break through that glass very easily. Myles Harden joins a cornerback room with Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson. But Watson, he joins a linebacker room that I think we can all agree of all the positions the Browns drafted, it would probably be the most likely for a rookie to puncture through the glass and make a starting name for themselves. Again, it's a little bit easier to say this without knowing what injuries could come our way because inevitably that does happen in football. But if everyone's healthy, I feel like this would be the most likely candidate, not because of his skill level necessarily compared to his other rookies, but just because of the opportunity and the time and place for him. So if he's got a good camp and Devin Bush, isn't looking like the part of a starting linebacker, maybe Watson takes over from him in that role. But will a rookie start this year? Give me a yes, give me a no. Take injuries out of the equation because obviously that can dramatically alter something, but just everyone's healthy. Is a rookie going to start this year? Give me your best predictions down below. All right, we invite Cullen Brown on to pick a card here at the end of the show. Cullen, which card are you thinking, bud?
I think I'm going to go with a 7 of spades.
7 of spades? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the jack of clubs. Here we go. 4 of hearts. 4 of hearts. All right. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I'll see you throughout the weekend.